Scion Snakeboat, your deeds this day are an inspiration to us all. Okay, that sounds way too good on accident. With the death of the Perfectus, Operation Archon has entered its second phase. Even as we speak, the Maelstrom moves to blockade Castrum Occidens and Castrum Marinum. And far to the east, in the Black Shroud, the Order of the Twin Adder advances upon Castrum Oriens. Already you have done so much to advance our cause, performing such feats as are worthy of song, but if our plan is to succeed, more is required of you. Let me know when your preparations are in order, and I shall relay to you the particulars of your next mission. Ooh. Raptor skin harness. Altered woolen cowl. Some crazy magic defense. This gives direct hit rate plus 30. And this gives dexterity, which does nothing for me. But this gives strength and vitality, and this gives... Oh, this gives more vitality, too. But this gives mind instead of strength. But, yeah, I just read that. Cannot equip gear to head. Big yikes. I feel like... the design of this armor... I feel like there's an issue with the design of this armor. Phase 2 of the operation is presently in motion. Our brothers and sisters of the Maelstrom are holding their own against Garlean forces upon Vilbrand and the Rotana Sea. Ere long, the third phase will begin, and you must make to the field once more. The immortal flame shall strike at Castrum Mirandum by way of a diversionary maneuver. While the Garleans are thus locked in battle, you are to infiltrate the stronghold and bring down the matchstick field that surrounds the Praetorium. The staging point of the mission lies in the shadow of Castrum Meridium in northern Thanalan, and that is where you must go. On your way there, however, I would ask you to make a brief stop at Camp Blue Fog, one of our key outposts in the area. The garrison, I am told, is in low spirits, and it would do our troops well to see the hero of Cape Westwind appear before them. For the good of our cause, please stoke the fire in their hearts. It's kind of a random ask. But sure, why not? I've already been there, apparently. Oh, I think I remember this place, actually. Beauty is the strongest armor, or something. Ah, Private Snakeboat, yours is the most welcome presence here at Camp Blue Fog. I'm not a private. Logistically speaking, we are ready to march on Castrum Meridianum at the moment's notice. Alas, while our troops are here in body, their minds are anywhere but. The garrison's mood is dark, so daunting is the prospect of joining what may prove to be the bloodiest battle in history. But with a hero such as you walking amongst them, we may yet rekindle the dwindling embers within their souls. Ooh. Private Snakeboat, I mentioned that I was hoping you might raise the flagging spirits of the men and women in our garrison. Worry not, it is not so unnecessarily laborious task that we ask of you. The mere presence of a hero such as you walking in their midst would no doubt serve to restore in them a measure of morale. And so I ask of you this. Make your way to the Cerulean processing plant and report to General Ruban once you have arrived. And Godspeed, Private Snakeboat, our troops are counting on you. Whoa, level 49. I could teleport, but kind of want to do this level 49 Fate. Oh, I just gotta follow this dude? Alright. Me and Red Wolf. Gaming. Now you may think I am being overly cautious, but caution can oftentimes be a man's best friend. I'm too rich to die! Can you believe this guy? You know how the proverb goes. Okay. It's better to be safe than strung up and growlicked by a bloodthirsty maniac. Yep, that's how it goes. I do agree. Gus Gus, be gone gone. That's a lot of enemies. I just joined a different fate. Dude, our boy's over here. Wait. Wait. I was just fighting with that other dude, thinking that I was helping him, but he abandoned the fate. He's doing a different fate. Alright, now we're back. He realized as well. We both realized the error of our ways. Alright, now we can go to this one. Arx is doing the same thing. Wait, so it, like level 49 to 50 was like a specifically long grind? This seems like pretty much the same exact amount of experience I needed for 49. I'm already like a fourth of the way there. Which I'm sure I got a ton from that boss, but... And those two fates were really high level, so that helped too. Hello, troops. Well, if it isn't the hero who brought down the Perfectus, it's good to have you with us, friend. As you can see, the mood about the camp here is grim at best. I was hoping that your presence alone might serve to raise spirits some. Unfortunately, it would seem that many are too preoccupied wallowing in fear and self-pity that they have yet to even notice you have arrived. Might I ask you to make the rounds and share a few words of encouragement to those men and women whose spirit falters? I had a mind to do it myself, but I'm quite certain it would carry more weight coming from you. Once you have seen to the others, go and do the same for Edelstein. No matter what he may claim, the lieutenant would also be better for a bit of rousing. Trust me, I know. I like how even in like the final big moments, they still have time to like throw us a fetch quest. I'm fine, truly. Nothing to worry about. Just a mild case of the battlefield nerves. Gotta hit him with the psych. Yarg! I break my fast on Garleans, and right now I'm very hungry. Okay. Yep, same, Irish. Have a great weekend. Might see you Saturday, if not. Happy New Year. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Sigh. Wow, the Garleans are not near as frightening as you. I'd sooner face a vanguard while naked is my name day. Alright. Apparently, because these guys are like, I'm never gonna fight again, and then all I do is a little fist pump, and they're like, I bathe in the blood of my enemies. Ah, the oft-rumored hero. Doubtless you will single-handedly save us all. Your stirring gesticulation has reawakened me to my purpose. Hero or no, I will fight tooth and nail to protect the realm. Wow. You would stoke my fighting spirit as you did our recruits? Haha, a kind offer, but hardly necessary. I assure you, the fire in my heart rages as strongly as it ever has. We'll see about that. Check this out. By Rauger, without my realizing it, the fire of my resolve had grown dim. But thanks to you, it burns red hot once more. If needs be, I shall lay down my life to secure victory for Eorzea. These are exactly the same, but one has more crit and one has more direct hit, so I guess we go crit. I gotta be 50 though. Why do I have so many legendary visors? I have 4 legendary visors. Why? I need to be level 50. Wait, was it legionary? Oh, I can't read. Why do I have 4 legionary visors? I already hit this, right? Oh. I'm locked out now. We've reached the final hurdle. I am losing it. We have reached the final hurdle. The final barrier. Level 50. I'm cool either way, because my plan is to finish next week. And I don't mind doing some exploring. Like I said before, just kind of going around and doing whatever you want. It's kind of fun. But yeah. Nice that it's not going to take, like, literally an entire day grinding to do it. Hey look, it's Arcs again. I've arrived to help. It's not 15 time yet. We got our last bonus game, which right now is Dirge. Probably going to be Dirge. Dirge has a pretty sizable lead. But I am curious to see what the final bonus games for the after party are going to be, because they're pretty close. Gran Turismo is my favorite Final Fantasy game. What are you talking about? Thought that was obvious. What do I want the bonus game to be? I'm down for whatever. Dirge is a game I already wanted to play through before starting Fantathon, because I owned it as a kid. Of course, it's a Final Fantasy VII game that I haven't beaten, so of course I want to play it, but also I owned it as a kid and played some of it and then never finished it, so I've always wanted to, like, finish it. But, also I'd love to play it just for the sake of playing every Final Fantasy VII game. I know all the, like, lore and story because I've watched all the cutscenes and stuff for the in-depth looks, but I've never actually just beaten the game itself, so... yeah, Dirge will be really cool. It'll also be cool because it's right before the remake comes out, or Rebirth comes out. So, and apparently there's going to be some connection, so it'll be cool to play right before Rebirth. So yeah, I'm definitely down for Dirge. Oh, we've not played Before Crisis either. And that is on the voting list. I don't know if it's one of the runner-ups or not. For those of you that don't know, the runner-ups, I think the top 9, I forget if it's 9 or 8 runner-ups. We're gonna do like an hour or two after Fantathon is over in a little bonus post-Fantathon event. So, all the games that got some votes but not enough to be a full bonus game will get some limelight. We'll check them out. And I believe Before Crisis is probably in the top 8. Not sure though, I'd have to look at the list. The lore in Before Crisis is both interesting and not interesting. Like, I think the lore behind Avalanche is super interesting. And you get a lot of backstory with, like, Barrett and stuff. But the Turk backstory isn't as exciting as it sounds like it should be. Like, because you play as just a random Turk. And you learn a little bit about the history of some of the Turk characters, but for the most part, you kind of just learn about new Turk characters. Doesn't seem to be a lot of, like, big, crazy lore with the Turk characters that everyone knows and loves. Like, you don't learn anything, like, ground shaking about them or anything. But it's still cool just to learn more about the Turks, because everyone likes the Turks. Thanks, Gen 1. I appreciate it. It's good to have you back. It's also a mobile game, so, like, I don't think they wanted to put any, like, super crazy important information that would you know, completely destroy your understanding of the game if you didn't know it. You know, like Kingdom Hearts does all the time. They didn't want to pull a Kingdom Hearts. They wanted to just be like a side story, but... $13.2, Dissidia, Tactics Advance, Revenant Wings, 4 After Years, Chocobo, MD, Before Crisis, and 15 Mobile. So there you go. Before Crisis is there, although it's very low, so it could be taken over by something else. Yeah, 7 spin-offs are definitely hit or miss. I think everyone is in agreement that Crisis Core is pretty good, both lore-wise and game-wise. Some of the stuff in Crisis Core is a bit yikes, but for the most part, I think it's good to not like. It's a good game. But yeah, everything else is kind of... Dirge especially tried way too hard. Like, I dislike how much Dirge rewrites a lot of the original game, and like, it doesn't retcon anything from what I remember, but it's just very... It tries to tell a bit too much instead of doing its own thing, in my opinion. But I haven't played through it myself, I only just know the lore, so maybe when I play through it, it'll feel more like it fits, but to me it's like, instead of doing their own thing with Dirge, they more have just tried to like feed off of the original lore. They're constantly saying like, oh, so that's what happened here, and that's what happened, instead of writing their own kind of thing. And the whole like proto-materia thing is kind of odd, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see when we play it. Maybe I'll have a different opinion. Then like Before Crisis is a Japanese-only mobile game, so it's like, what could they have really done with that? And First Soldier was just a freaking joke. You know, I have a soft spot for Advent Children. And over the years, I've kind of appreciated the story of Advent Children more, but I think the general consensus is that Advent Children is an okay movie, but kind of doesn't do a great job of bringing the characters to the movie. Like, Cloud feels really out of place. A lot of the characters feel kind of out of place. I think Tifa might be the only one that really feels like herself. I've kind of warmed up to Cloud, though, in Crisis Core, or Advent Children, to be fair. Like, when I watched Advent Children originally, I was like, man, this is not even Cloud. Like, I don't understand, this is dumb. But when I did the in-depth of Cloud, I really kind of warmed up to the idea of the movie and how he feels alone even though he's not alone, and fights through that, and like, it's a very relatable story. I've definitely felt that way before. I've had times in my life where I'm like literally surrounded by people and I feel completely alone. It's a very weird feeling to have. And like, also like dealing with loss that can happen, like that's a specific thing that happens to people when they deal with loss, is that they feel alone even when they're surrounded by people. And the way that they use like the wolf and like Fenrir to show that physically, and then throughout the movie the wolf like visits Cloud, like they did a good job telling the story they wanted to tell. And I feel like just saying Cloud shouldn't be this emo kind of detracts from how good of a job they actually did telling the story they wanted to tell. So like, I've kind of warmed up to it over the years. I still think that they maybe could have made Cloud a better character instead of him really only showing up at the very end and just being nothing the whole rest of the movie, but I don't know. Like I said, I understand more of what they were going for after doing that video. And I can at least respect it. I can respect the attempt, you know? Yeah. And like, I don't know, even connecting Cloud to a wolf in the first place is kind of like a little weird. Like, almost feels like it should be Squall instead of him, like, in a way, you know? But anyways. No, I definitely have a soft spot for the movie in general, though. I really like the movie. Like, I like watching the movie. The action and, like, I don't know what to call it, camera work. Like, it's not camera, but you know what I mean? Like, the artistic design of it, and the way that they do the scenes, and the way that the characters look, like, I just really like it. It's just a fun movie to watch. I think it's visually appealing. It's a good movie to, like, put on and maybe not even, like, fully pay attention to it, but just enjoy it for what it is. It's no masterpiece, but I think it's a entertaining movie. Yeah, cinematography, I guess. The direction they went was pretty interesting too, because they didn't have a lot to go off of. It was just like what happened after 7. That was the whole premise. So they had to kind of come up with everything. I don't remember if On the Way to a Smile was written before or after Advent Children. Do you guys know off the top of your head? Not actually sure. I want to say it was written afterwards, but I could be wrong. If it was written before, then they had that to go off of at least. I was thinking Advent Children was first, and then On the Way to a Smile was the way to try to bridge the gap and make it make sense. I remember having that issue too the first time I saw the movie. The first time I saw the movie, I was like, this is awful. I thought the whole idea of the original ending was to be open-ended as to whether or not humanity died or not. So having this movie ruins the ending of the game. But then I kind of realized, like, in my stupid headcanon, Final Fantasy VII exists on an island of its own canon. So, like, there's the canon of just Final Fantasy VII, where the game ends and none of us know if humanity survived or not. And then there's the, what do they call it? The compilation of Final Fantasy VII, which is everything. Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, Dirge, all that. And that's its own canon. And we can enjoy that for its own thing, right? And then there's the remake canon, where it may or may not be involved with the other games, but it's its own thing. So that's my own way of explaining it. I'm not sure if everyone feels the same way, but for me, it's like 3 separate things. It's Final Fantasy VII as it was made with nothing else existing. You know, that was me in 1993 or 1998 playing the game. And then the compilation, which is just like everything together, looking at it now, and then remake being its own canon. So I think that's the best way to look at it. That way you don't watch Advent Children and think like it just completely ruins the original, you know? Because Advent Children, both in theory and in reality, didn't exist when the original game came out. When the original game came out, it was just that. And then they came up with the idea of Advent Children. So in a way, it is its own canon. If we could go back in time to when it existed, there was no thought of like, oh, this is what happens afterwards. Like, it was supposed to be open-ended. So we can appreciate it for what it is, but then we can also look at it as a separate canon of the compilation where they add all sorts of things and retcon certain things as well. But no, I completely agree. The first time I watched Advent Children, I was like, what the heck? I thought the whole idea was, like, the whole theme of the original game is humanity good or bad? And would the world save us if it had the opportunity to? And then we have to kind of decide for ourselves whether or not we think the world would save us, or if we've done too much damage. I mean, it's a really wild concept, honestly. It's one of the greatest thematic concepts in video game history, in my opinion. If our planet was alive, would it save us? Would it save us? You know, if the planet was real, if the planet's name was Gaia, and it was a real thing with a conscience, would it save us? Or would it think, you guys have done too much damage to me? All the years of global warming and taking my resources and thinking about yourself and killing all the animals I created and killing all the wildlife I created and yada yada, like, would it save us? It's such a fascinating question. And you don't need to play Final Fantasy VII or video games in general to think, like, to be challenged by that question, you know? So leaving the game open-ended at the end and thinking, like, you know, did it save humanity is such a cool thing. Am I talking about? Oh yeah, and it's very. That's why the whole beginning of the game. Okay. That's why the whole beginning of the game is centered on Shinra and how evil they are and everything, because it kind of shows the evil of humanity, so that later, when you realize that the planet is alive and we need the planet's help to save humanity, like, it comes into question, like, are humans good? And you remember how evil Shinra was, and you're like, well, those are humans. Whether or not we want to admit it or not, those are humans. I mean, it's genius in so many ways. It really is. Right. And did we allow that to happen? You know, we don't know the history of Shinra enough to really know if, like, we're at fault. Did somebody decide that Shinra should be in power? And the remake, I think, does a great job of making you think about Shinra as a corporation and not just evil humans. Because a lot of the people in the remake, you talk to them and they're like, you know, oh, I love Shinra. They give us electricity and it makes life easier, and I don't really care if they are lining their pockets because electricity is good, you know what I mean? And there's some of that in the original too, but I think there's honestly more of that in the remake. I think they did a better job of kind of showing, like, it's not just Shinra's evil, but humanity is allowing them to be evil. Like, a lot of the people in Midgar are complacent in allowing them to be evil because they like the amenities. And that's a whole other thing entirely of, like, you know, kind of kind of reflects Final Fantasy XVI a bit, and how they know it's evil, but they enjoy life being easier, and they're just complacent to the evil. And so, like it's always such a cool moment when Cloud realizes that the planet itself has to decide, wholly has to decide whether or not humans should be saved or not. Because, like, how do we know? Like, I mean, you know, it's a genuine, he genuinely doesn't know. He's like, you know, we've been complacent to this evil this whole time. Like, are we going to get our due? And especially for Cloud, because Cloud was on that side at one point. You know, Cloud would be a hypocrite if you were to say, like, yeah, everyone in Shinra should just die, and then all the good humans should just stay. Because, like, he was part of Shinra at one point. So does that mean he should die too? Like, Holy should take him out too? Or has he done enough to show that he's good now? Or does that even matter? Like, was the damage he did before too much? It's all really interesting questions. If you were destroying the planet in the previous time of your life, but have since changed your ways, does the planet care about that? Or is the planet going to be like, you know, you have to pay for the misdeeds of your past? I mean, it's a planet. How are we going to know? Yep, even Barrett. Even Barrett was complacent at one point, and that's why he's so hell-bent on saving the planet, because he was part of the problem at one point. That's why he's so passionate about it. In a lot of ways, he's trying to redeem himself. So basically, moral of the story is, Holy kills all the humans, but keeps Doggo because Doggo is best Doggo. Doggo was good from the beginning. Red 13, best character. The only sin that Red 13 commits is being mean to his dad. Which, you know, aren't we all at some point? Who did Red mate with? Did you watch my Red 13 video? There's a pretty good answer to that, although not 100% for sure, but speaking of Before Crisis, it's semi-explained in Before Crisis. Dinner. That is one thing that Before Crisis talks about. We were talking about, like, what does Before Crisis say that's meaningful? That's one meaningful thing, although is it really meaningful? I don't know. Yeah, it's annoying when, like, it's not important to explain and some spin-off just explains it anyways. You know, like, they're trying to be clever. Like, oh, that's who he mates with, like, but it's not important. Like, what's important is that humanity may or may not be dead, and that's, like, what you're supposed to be focusing on, not who he mated with, you know? Like, it's kind of silly to explain it. Like, it's over-explaining at that point, right? Like, we really don't need to know that. But they're trying to be clever and, like, take things from the original game. But sometimes it's too much. And that's kind of what I was saying about... What in the world? Why do I feel like I shouldn't fight this thing? Why do I feel like I'm gonna die a horrible death? I don't know what this thing is. It's supposed to be like a rare fight. Like that other one in that other area. Anyways, I had no health, so I definitely wanted to win that. It's a hunt monster, yeah. But that's what I was saying before with Before Crisis and how, like, instead of telling its own story that's, like, really interesting in terms of the Turks, it just kind of borrows, like, oh, I wonder what younger Bugenhagen was like. Oh, I wonder who Red 13 mated with. Oh, I wonder what Sephiroth was like before he went crazy. Like just these questions that you would have when playing Final Fantasy VII, they try to explain it. Which some of that's okay, but when the whole game is basically just that, it's not as interesting. It needs to tell its own compelling story. Which, from what I've read, it doesn't really seem like it does that, but I could be wrong. We'll see when we play it. Same with, well, I think when I said that before, I think I said that with Dirge, but also with Before Crisis. Dirge definitely tells its own crazy story, but a lot of it is also just explaining random things about the OG story. That's why I think Crisis Core does a much better job. Crisis Core is like, oh look, here's Sephiroth before he went crazy. Okay, now we're going to tell our own story with our own characters, and, you know, there's going to be some references to Zack and Cloud and the Nibelheim incident, but, like, everything leading up to the Nibelheim incident is just its own story. And then the Nibelheim incident happens, and you're like, oh, now we get to see this from different angles and stuff. But way before that ever happens, you get a lot of just Zack's own story. And you meet a lot of new characters and stuff, you know? It doesn't start off with the Nibelheim incident. It doesn't start off with the fan service, you know? It doesn't start off with, like, all right, here's what happened that you didn't get to see. I think the only specific thing that they do at the very beginning is showing off Yuffie being a child. That's like the one fan service thing to do at the start. But yeah, I think they do a lot better job there. I'm already like more than halfway to 50. I'm surprised. Oh, it's crazy. Zack's power level in Crisis Core is unreal. Like, dude's just actual superhero level. I didn't feel like Zack was as strong in OG. You guys think he was that strong in OG? What scene made you feel like Zack was like a god among men? Oh, that event disappeared. Well, there's Crystal Tower. Speaking of Crystal Tower. The hidden lab. I don't know. That scene always perplexed me because it just felt like he kind of accidentally escaped. Like he just kind of breaks out. Like almost like the pod has like a malfunction and he just falls out of it. Not that he like powered up and broke through it. Because the scene doesn't really show much. They're just kind of sitting there. Yeah, the truck scene, he's just doing like his goofball thing. Yeah. One thing that's really great about Crisis Core 2, other than the obvious final scene where they use the mechanics of the game to storytell, but even like throughout the game, it feels like Zack gets so strong. Like, you get so strong just actually in the game that it feels like Zack is some superhero. It's definitely one of the best, like, I feel strong type games. Almost similar to like a Warriors style game where you're just taking out hundreds of enemies. Not to that level, but the way that Zack can just like walk up and max damage stuff, and even before post game, like if you level up your materia correctly, you're just absolutely wasting enemies. It's a bit of a power trip game in some ways. Like I said, not as much as like a Warrior style game where the whole point is to be a power trip, but definitely more of a power trip than OG Final Fantasy VII. Probably just for the fact that it's an action RPG, but you know, all the characters feel strong because, like, they can, like, they make it perfectly clear at the start that Genesis and Angeal are pretty much the same power level as Sephiroth. Like, he is stronger, but, like, they're around the same power level. And then pretty quickly in the game, you take out Angeal. So it's like, if I can defeat Angeal, then that's kind of where my power level is. So I don't know. For some reason, you just feel powerful. Definitely feel powerful in Crisis Core. Final Fantasy VII has a bit of the opposite effect on purpose. Like, Sephiroth is always way above your power level, and him just dropping a piece of Jenova is like a giant boss. So they're really hyping up the power of Sephiroth throughout the whole game. So by extension, you don't feel super powerful all the time. The Gigas, they're everywhere and they won't stop smashing our things. That's a lot of that's a lot of boys. You guys go first. Brother, I already told you I don't want to do the limited time event. Saying it over and over again in the chat is just making me want to do it less. I've said it twice now. You've all but confirmed I'm not going to do it at this point. seems they're having a giant problem. I would say so. I'm gonna have to chill for a minute. You guys keep fighting? Oh god, they're following me. Why are they all targeting me? Chocobo, heal me! Oh, he actually did. Help, Lacey Lou. Oh no, not my box of documents. Oh no. I think we're in trouble. We gotta get away from the documents. They're hitting it on accident. Nice. We did it. I do kind of wonder if I should do a mission. I should do like a dungeon or something to try to get some better loot. Like, because all my equipment is just the equipment from the main story. But then again, I don't really mind keeping it that way because that last fight was really fun. And if I just get to level 50 and then do the last quests, it'll probably be really fun to try to beat the final bosses with what I have. This is that one I don't have access to, right? Hmm.